In one of my most recent videos, I highlighted who my most improved player of the year was in Jalen Johnson. Now, I thought it was customary to do the opposite of that because that would probably be a little bit harder because I think most improved was kind of just, it was out there. We knew who was going to win. It's going to be Jalen Johnson. If Jalen Johnson wasn't in the league, we're not even going to talk about that. I'm not even going to say who would be runner-up. Like I said, pinpointing the players who have improved the least proves to be more of a challenging task in my opinion, and I will do that right here, right now in this video. This analysis is inherently subjective. There's no other way to put it. It's obviously my opinion and my opinion only, and it also relies on the expectations set by me. So deal with it, like it, love it, like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. If you're not new, welcome back to the channel. Appreciate having you here, and let's tap into the video. I know that was a quick little intro, but I noticed my intros have been kind of long lately, so we just gonna slide right by that and jump into the first one, and that is Jordan Poole. It hasn't been a pool party in Washington, just to let y'all know. No, my battery's about to die. No, where's my charger? Got it plugged in like that. We got action. I ain't gonna lie, I'm not gonna keep all that in the video, but we're gonna keep some of that in the video because y'all gonna see how frantically I was just moving. Because I'm gonna be honest, I've lost a couple videos because of my battery dying, and we was not about to lose this video, nor was we about to wait for the battery to charge. But anyway, let's talk about Jordan Poole and his sorry ass basketball season this year. Now, distinguishing between talented and good basketball players is crucial, and Jordan Poole epitomizes this distinction. His extraordinary skill and creativity were once considered all-star caliber, evident a couple years ago when he nearly achieved 50-40-90 shooting splits, and he averaged 17 points a game to boot during the Golden State Warriors championship run. However, as the team progressed, got younger pieces to add for the future and things of that nature, Poole's indispensability has diminished. After that season, Jordan Poole's hypnotic abilities couldn't overshadow glaring red flags. He had defensive lapses, questionable decisions, and a demeanor that conflicted with the team's selfless culture that the Golden State Warriors had built from the very beginning. Now, after a significant contract, a memorable punch from Draymond, which I don't like talking about so much, and a surprising trade after that, the 24-year-old has become subject of mockery, and that's essentially all it's been for this NBA season with him and the Wizards. Away from Steph Curry's influence, Jordan Poole's once appealing artistry has now been tainted by detrimental instincts, and it seems like his nonchalant behavior on the court is just unattractive to any basketball watchers in the world. While many NBA players thrive on self-belief, Jordan Poole seemed very irrational. Despite ranking last in points per possession on isolation plays among players with at least 50 such plays, he persists in turning team dynamics into solo endeavors. Surprisingly, he's taken fewer shots this season, and trust me, as a bettor, I have definitely noticed it. I saw a bet for 19.5 and I bet his over thinking it's Jordan Poole, that's easy, till I realized, one, he's averaging 18 points this year, and two, he is not shooting enough to be able to go get 20 points. He only shot 4 shots in the game that I was hoping he would get 19.5 points. And the only reason I'm holding Jordan Poole to that is because it was the last leg of a parlay that would have won me $30,000. Jordan Poole, you are on the chopping block, buddy. You're number 1 on this list, and this list isn't even in order. Now on to the next one, because this guy has lost me a lot of money too, and I want to know if he's lost y'all money. So if he has lost y'all some money, comment down below. If he hasn't lost y'all money, tell me some players that have lost y'all money who y'all have on y'all do not bet list. I'm gonna drop my do not bet list one day. I'm gonna probably drop it after this video. But the next person we got in this one is Zion Williamson. I think a lot of people could have guessed that, because let's talk about him. Now, despite consistently scoring within the paint and lacking consistent defensive awareness, Zion still possesses the potential to be an MVP candidate. His unique blend of power, explosiveness, and finesse baffles opponents who are well aware of his intentions every time he touches the ball. However, at this point, he's now in the periphery of the NBA conversation, overshadowed by performances that no longer captivate the audience as it once did. Witnessing Zion take off from the dotted line below the free throw line, effortlessly navigating through defenders at the rim, It leaves spectators questioning why such feats don't happen more often, the way we saw when he first started his career. His focused and unstoppable demeanor, characterized by stomps, soars, unprecedented displays of power, it could potentially lead to averaging an efficient 30 points per game and securing a top 10 spot in assists. And the Pelicans have been using him as a primary ball handler a lot more for this reason, because they obviously recognize it. In this current season, despite being a key player on an impressive Pelicans team, Zion is unlikely to make the All-Star team. His scoring has dipped with only 3 instances of 30 or more points in 30 games, and his average falls below players like Bam Adebayo, Terry Rozier, and even Kyle Kuzma, who's on an awful team. Notably, his teammate Brandon Ingram is currently considered the New Orleans Pelicans' best player, and I agree with that, but it marks a shift from Zion's previous status. Even when Zion is the primary focus for opponents, the team functions more efficiently when he's on the bench this season. His usage, PER, and free throw rate have reached new lows, and interestingly, when played as the nominal center, his field goal percentage at the rim is lower than when alongside Jonas Valanciunas. While Zion can still showcase moments of electric play, occasional defensive brilliance, there are nights when he fails to dominate, consistently attack the rim, or effectively use his right hand against strategic defenses. The expectation is for him to command the game in various aspects, from posting up to executing pick and rolls, and this reality could still unfold in the near future. Despite being healthy at 23, the hope was for another significant leap in performance this season. What I've seen from the Pelicans, they've had him bring the ball up the court more. He's been a play initiator more often than not, so that could be something that is causing his low numbers to actual trickle and be here. He could be adjusting to a new position, but regardless, it is not the same Zion that we've seen nor expected, and that is why he is on this list. And we gonna go ahead and slide. Well, I mean, the Pelicans are still in the West, but we gonna go to the actual West Coast because the Pelicans should not be in the West, and go over to Portland. And it's crazy to think about it because I got 2 guys from Portland on this list, and they about to go back to back. But number 1, Scoot Henderson. Now, I want to preface this by saying I understand that athletic guards that are already streaky shooters coming into the league, they tend to have trouble finding footing. Now, coming back from that ankle injury, he has played a little bit better and has gotten a little bit better on the floor, but regardless, he is still shown to be a bit shaky. Now, while Henderson displays dynamicism in the open court and exhibits advanced passing skills, the overall performance has yet to live up to that preseason hype. His ongoing absence for more weeks due to an injury, it adds another layer of difficulty to his A, recovery, and B, development. Now, I will say this about Portland as well. They have a very deep backcourt, so it is probably going to be hard for Scoot to find some footing in a backcourt that has guys like Anthony Simons and Malcolm Brogdon, who are clearly stars in this league, so Scoot is going to have to find his way. That does not escape from the fact that this rookie season has been disappointing. But we're going to shift our focus to another guy on his team who has been in the league a lot longer and I could talk a lot more about, because while Scoot is a rookie, he still has time to develop, and I think he would to develop. But this guy, Deandre Ayton, formerly known as Dominating, I do not believe he will develop anymore, and he is who he is at this point of his NBA career. Deandre Ayton, a guy who is yet to deliver the promise of bringing out Dominating in Portland. Ayton is currently averaging a career low 13 points a game, a decline from last year's 18, and he's achieving a career low 54.8% accuracy on his 2-point shots, coupled with a career low free throw rate. There may not be another player in the league who settles as frequently or requires less to feel content on any given possession. While Ayton excels as a mid-range shooter and always has, he can become overly eager to attempt shots, even when defended by smaller opponents in space when he should back them down. Now, this season marks Ayton's first departure from the Suns, and it represents a notable regression. His turnover rate is nearly double his assist rate. His rim shooting percentage has dropped significantly from last season's 79% to a current 67%. And despite securing a victory against his former team, one of the few highlights this season, Ayton received what could be termed a backhanded compliment from D-Book, where Book said he played extra hard tonight. I saw that. And my challenge for him is to play like that every night. And we've always talked about Deandre Ayton's effort and him being a lazy player, and this has not come short this year. It's just funny to me because this guy just came out and said he's a max player and has nothing to prove. And you're a max player. You're right about that. You did get a max deal. But you got a lot to prove, buddy. You do not live up to the hype, and it's hard to believe sometimes. The Suns took Deandre Ayton over Luka Doncic for #1 overall pick, the guy that just scored 73 points. So when we consider that, yeah, Deandre Ayton, you got a lot to live up to. You got a lot to prove in this league, buddy, especially that work ethic. But what makes it even worse for Deandre Ayton is that he seems to fail to recognize the dynamics of his team from time to time. In one instance, He commits an offensive foul on Jaren Jackson Jr. despite Shaedon Sharpe standing at the top of the arc with Bismack Biyombo on him, a clear mismatch that should be exploited every single time. But instead, he tried to get a bucket on Jaren Jackson Jr., he got a charge, and it went the other way, taking a possession from his team. Deandre Ayton has always been one of those guys I've called soft from the moment he came into the league till now, and I think it's going to remain that way for him. But this next guy who rounds off the list, I don't think is soft, and I don't think he'll stay at this level, but it has been disappointing so far, and that's Mikal Bridges. Now this one hurts a little bit because I was on the Mikal Bridges bandwagon. I know it was a small sample size when he was scoring, but he was doing his thing, and I believed in it, especially as a guy that has very long arms, a great defender, can finish above the rim. I just thought he needed to hone in a little bit more in the offseason and he would be okay. This season, it's clear he does have a little bit more work to do. There has been moments where it's like, okay, I can see that he hasn't always been an offensive star. He hasn't been an offensive bucket getter his whole basketball career. And you could tell with certain instances, like when he tried to drive on Anthony Edwards the other night. When he got to the free throw line, Anthony Edwards bumped him so far off his spot, Mikal Bridges had to reset and go back to the three-point line. It's things like that where if you have a spin jumper in your bag, or you're just a bucket in general, you're gonna have that spin jumper knowing that Anthony Edwards cut that off. But because Mikal Bridges is very new to this, he didn't have that. It stopped the possession and it went the other way. Now, this assessment is not to diminish Bridges' value or skill set. Including him alongside Poole and Ayton is not an attempt to disparage a versatile, reliable two-way player who could be an asset on any team. I need to say that now. And consistency is a commendable quality that deserves recognition, and few exemplify as well as Mikal Bridges. So I have to say, him being on this list is a one-off, and it largely comes from the expectations a lot of us had for him ending the season last year. That substantial leap he took last year, it skewed our perception, and I can be honest with that right here, right now. He delivered an impressive 26 points per game with a remarkable 30% usage rate, double what it was for the Suns. And he was hooping. There's no other way to it. We can't lie and say he wasn't hooping. He was doing that. But Bridges' accuracy at the rim this year is declined. His effectiveness in the mid-range is declined. And where he showcased star quality by making over 50% of 7 pull-up twos per game on the Nets last season, that's also diminished. The volume and accuracy of his mid-range shots have decreased. The degree of difficulty has also increased, with an impressive 71% of his mid-range shots being unassisted. These statistics highlight the challenge of having the ball in his hands more than anyone else on a disjointed roster. Some of this critique, it stems from expectations that were possibly too lofty to begin with. I can be honest with that. While Bridges excelled down the stretch of last season, anticipating him to shoulder such significant offensive responsibility for an entire season might not have been realistic, and I, as a Bridges believer, can say myself I was wrong. He might get there, but that small sample size was not enough to show us he's gonna get there. Nevertheless, there is still room for him to grow, get into this more number one, number two kind of role. Probably gonna be the best number two, number three on a championship team, but when it comes to a team that's not really trying to win, he could be a number one, pad his stats, do what he got to do to help his team win some games and be competitive. But overall, Mikal Bridges, you would not normally be on this list had it not been for the lofty expectations that arguably you set on yourself after that great performance to end the year last year. But that's all I got for you guys in this one. That was my top 5 disappointing players for this NBA season thus far. Let me know who you have on your list as some more of the disappointing players in the NBA this season. Who are some guys that you had some expectations for that didn't live up to them? Who are some guys that you maybe didn't have any expectations for and they still didn't live up to anything at all? Let me know in the comments down below. I appreciate you guys being here. Like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed. And it is your boy TB with the greatest hoop stories and debates on the tube, and I'm out. Peace.